Today we are talking all about the new-ish Tissot PRX Chrono with the olive green dial. We're talking about the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. Welcome back to the Chisholm Hunter channel. My name is Harrison as always. And if you do enjoy these videos, please consider hitting that subscribe button before we get started. And let's dive in to this Tissot PRX Chrono. But let's dive into the Tissot PRX Chrono from just a beautiful part of the world. We are in Iceland today. So let's kick off with the specs. The Tissot PRX Chrono comes in at 42mm in diameter, and 42mm in diameter is not bad for a chrono model. If you think about it logically, I mean, you need to fit a ton of complications on that dial, and it needs to be highly readable. So typically chrono models are that little bit bigger. So that's not really an issue. Actually, if anything, for a watch at this price with those complications, that's a positive. But what isn't as much of a positive is the thickness. The thickness of this model comes in at 14.5mm. So yes, it is a chunky monkey, and I would have liked to see it that little bit smaller. With that said, remember that this is a Tissot. This is meant to be the more entry-level watch, one of the first luxury watches that you buy because it is that little bit cheaper. So I understand the thickness, but I would have liked to see it that little bit thinner. Now, I'm a little bit cold, it's freezing, it's so windy, so I'm gonna take a step back in the car and talk about the rest of the specs. Oh my God, it is cold today. Wow, it's really dark. The length of this watch comes in at 41.5mm, and throughout this watch you can really see all the DNA and everything that made the PRX line in general so popular replicated into this model. It is just a sexy looking watch. It is just a 70s inspired, brilliant looking watch. And I was thinking about affordable alternatives to this watch, because this is about £1,000, but we'll go over the price in a little bit. And I honestly couldn't think of one. I think this is probably the best entry-level luxury chrono model that you could buy. This watch, of course, comes in 316L stainless steel, which makes it that little bit heavier, which gives it that little bit of heft. It also has the 70s inspired angular integrated bracelet that everybody loves. It has a quick release function on that bracelet, so you can easily interchange the bracelets with, let's say, a rubber or leather strap, whatever you want to go with. And also, it has a butterfly clasp at the bottom. Now, what I like about this butterfly clasp, in comparison with other butterfly clasps, is it can be put down either way. And that's kind of an odd thing to say, but you'll understand it once you get it on the wrist. Sometimes butterfly clasps have to go down a certain way, one over the other, but this can go down either way, which makes it a lot more quick and kind of easy to wear and use and get on the wrist. And I like that. That is just something that just makes it that little bit more fresh. This watch, of course, has sapphire crystal glass with anti-reflective coating on the outside, and it is water resistant to 100 meters, and that's with an open case back. So it does have that open case back. And I just, come on. I mean, I love open case backs. They allow you to see into the beating heart of your watch, and it's very rare that I actually get a watch without an open case back. So I quite like that Tissot are going down that direction. Right, we've spent quite a bit of time here. I'm actually going to show you guys a quick couple of drone shots from the views around me because it's just stunning. And then we're going to drive somewhere new, somewhere a little special, and review the rest of this watch. So I did try and film in the Highlands, but the wind is just mad. So I've come to this beautiful yellow river. I don't actually know what the yellow in the river is. I think it's sediment from the glacier or it's sewage, but no matter what it is, it looks honestly awesome against the black sand. So let's talk about the dial on this watch really quickly. So because it is a chrono model, you obviously have chrono functionality. So when you look at the dial, you have your normal minute, hour, and second hand. You then have a 30-minute counter on the right-hand side. You then have a 12-hour counter at the bottom, just at the 6 o'clock mark there, and a 60-second on the left-hand side next to the 3 o'clock mark. And also you have a date window really nicely tucked away between the 4 and 5 mark. The date window is against white. It's black and white, the two most contrasting colors, so it is extremely readable and very, very visible. Sometimes chrono models squeeze the date window down too much and you can't quite see it, but on this one, it's good. Now the dial itself on this watch, that is really where the magic happens for me in this watch. It is just stunning. It has a really beautiful olive green gradient out into a more dark forest green, and also being an automatic model, it has that waffle texture going through it. So you have kind of like 3 or 4 levels of depth going on with the date window, with the waffle texture, with the gradient through the dial, and obviously the hands being stacked. It just gives this watch a huge amount of depth, and you really do kind of get encapsulated by it. Hands down, this is my favorite color from the Chrono Tissot PRX range. I wasn't as keen in the others with those kind of vertical lines going through them. The blue and the white or the silver weren't my cup of tea, but this is much more my cup of tea. Now, when you do get to the pushers on the right-hand side, you'll see that they're in polished, as well as the crown, which gives it a really nice contrast to the brushed metal of the face of this watch. So team, what we're gonna do now is go back to the house, the place that I'm staying, the Airbnb, the cabin, and we're gonna talk about the movement of this watch, all the intricacies that you need to know, and also what I love and what I don't like about this watch. I know the title is The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and to be honest, there's not much ugly, but it just doesn't go. The good and the bad doesn't kind of flow as much as the good, bad, and the ugly. Is that a movie? Is that why it flows? I don't know. Let's go. Oh, guys, I am going to level with you here. I am absolutely knackered, but let's quickly talk about the movement in this bad boy. The movement in this model is the Valjoux A05.H31 caliber. And this movement provides 60 hours of power, and it also has the chronograph functions and the date window function. Now, I do love the fact that you can see this movement through the open case back, but I do feel at this price point, about the £1,000 mark, you are getting into in-house territory. This model does come in at £1,695, which is damn expensive for a Tissot model, for the typically more entry-level luxury watch, but also it is a good quality watch. It is a really fine quality watch that competes with watches pretty much in the same price range. Just because it has Tissot on it, don't think of it as a lesser luxury watch. This is a bloody good watch for the money. But let's quickly cover some of the pros that I found and also some of the cons. So firstly, the pro, that dial is gorgeous. It's beautiful. I love the way it's 70s inspired. I love that butterfly clasp. I love the open case back. As a con, I would say probably the thickness. The thickness is what gets me that little bit. The thickness is just that little bit too thick. Also, another con of this watch could be that most people buying an entry-level, typically an entry-level luxury watch from an entry-level brand, probably won't use the chrono function. Thus, they'll probably go for the Powermatic 80 variant of this model. It's not really a con, but you guys kind of get what I mean. I think that Tissot have really nailed it here, but I think they just need to home it in just a touch. But enough of what I think. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching this Chisholm Hunter watch vlog. If you have enjoyed, please consider hitting that subscribe button or follow our Instagram at Chisholm Hunter Watches or my Instagram at HP Life Lens. I'll be posting all the photography that I've done here over the last couple of days on that channel. And I'll see you guys real soon.